has been around for over 30 years. It's the #1 take-and-bake pizza company in the world, and so you know, we're pretty excited about that. We get all the time. We get surveys and stuff for I guess like Zagat does a survey every year, and I'm getting nervous now with all these stuff. So, but we rank top you know, scores on all the different restaurants and magazine, restaurants and institutions, that Pizza Today, all these different magazines, we score very high. One of the things that's pretty interesting is we score very high in, well, we score at the top of the chart for convenience. And for me, that seems really strange that a take-and-bake pizza would be convenient, but when you look at it, compare it to, you know, store-bought or delivery, you never really know what you're going to get. But when you come in, you see us make your pizza, and you take it home, you can put it in the refrigerator, and cook it whenever you guys want to, then it's really convenient. You guys can pick it up when you're out running errands. You can pick it up on the way home from picking up the kids, you know, whenever it's convenient for you guys, and then you don't have to worry about picking it up. So another fun thing that we do at Papa Murphy's, at least here in Central Florida, we have an event trailer. And so, you know, we're getting ready for a school event today. We're feeding some people for lunch over in Winter Park. But we do a lot of school stuff, community, and you know, first of all, getting people to taste it, and then, you know, we get a chance to hand out coupons and get our name exposed in our brand. So, anyways, I kind of take you around the back here. Everything that we cut our own vegetables. You know, of course, our, you know, things like our artichoke hearts, our olive, pineapple, that kind of stuff. It comes in cans. But our tomatoes, onions, mushrooms, green peppers, all of those vegetables, we make that up fresh daily. You know, we don't have any freezers in the store, so everything's going to have a pretty short shelf life in our store. So we don't keep anything, you know, frozen for months at a time or anything like that. Our cheese, we grate it every day, so, you know, and it doesn't come pre-shredded. And so, you know, if you haven't had our pizza before, when you try it, you can really taste the difference. So it's 100% real cheese. It's not made with real cheese. It's real cheese. So we use mozzarella on the base. Then we do cheddar and provolone mix on the top. We also have Parmesan cheese and feta cheese. So we have a couple different options. The feta cheese goes on like our herb chicken Mediterranean. And has anyone tried one of the herb chicken Mediterraneans before? Okay, so it's like a thin crust. It's got olive oil and garlic base. It's kind of like one of our healthier options. Spinach, sun-dried tomatoes, feta cheese, and it's really good. One of our pizzas that's kind of a limited time offer, our Taco Grande pizza. Is one thing that, you know, we'll probably have for another 2 to 4 weeks. It's usually through May and June, so there's a chance that we'll have it for most of June, but it's really cool. It's got a refried beans and salsa mix instead of pizza sauce. And then we put the cheese on. You can get taco chicken or taco beef, and then, you know, tomatoes, green onions, olives, and then cheddar cheese. So it's really good. We did an event in Sanford. We do a live after 5. You're probably familiar with it. We're up there almost every month, and so this last May, a couple weeks ago when they did it, their theme was Cinco de Mayo, and so we did a lot of taco pizzas. And when you think taco and pizza, it usually doesn't, you know, that's usually not like, ooh, that sounds delicious. But when you try it, it's really, really good. So, any questions about any of this stuff?
What's a fresh pan? Is that such a fresh pan for $1 more?
Okay, so a fresh pan, that's something that we just started doing. That's this right here. It only comes in a large size, but we use a thicker crust, and it's got it's called savory oil and butter that we put on the bottom, and then so that way it kind of fries the bottom of the crust. It's thicker, so it's kind of like a deep dish. It's really good, but you know, if you're looking for like the healthier option and stuff, that's not the way that you want to go. But as far as flavor and everything, it's awesome. So when you taste it, when you cook it at home, it's hard to imagine that it came out of your own oven. You didn't. I know that lots of big pizza chains have their own pan crust, and they've got cast iron skillets and stuff that they cook the dough and stuff in. And all we have is a one-time use aluminum pan that you cook your pizza in. So when you compare it to it, it's hard to believe that when you cook it that just came out of your own oven. So, but it's really good. It's really good. It's got a lot of flavor and stuff. And it's really cool. So the other stuff that we have desserts, side items, salads, cookie dough. That's another thing that we do in store. We mix the flour and the chocolate chips and the butter and brown sugar and all that kind of stuff. It's not something that comes pre-made. So when we get it in, we mix it up and then we sell it. So we also have a s'mores dessert pizza with marshmallows, chocolate chips, and our crispy topping was kind of like brown sugar and oats and stuff. So it's really cool. Our cinnamon wheel is another really good. A lot of people use that as like a coffee dessert type of thing in the morning. So if you like donuts and coffee in the morning, your cinnamon wheel is a pretty good choice too. So this is where we keep a lot of our product up here. You can see that everything, we get our root peppers and tomatoes, lettuce, everything is very fresh. Onions, this is how we get it. We're not bringing it in already processed and stuff. So, and then our dough, of course, we make every day. And in fact, I'll show you guys how we mix some dough. So, you can come back this way, and we'll kind of see a batch of what we call our delight mix. It's a thin crust, and we mix the olive oil, yeast, water, and then a bag of our dough mix. That will mix. It'll sit on the table for an hour, and then we'll dough ball that and put it in the walk-in for the yeast to really activate and get the correct flavor profile and stuff. Our dough is not one that we mix and then toss right away. Our dough is meant to sit for at least 12 hours before we sheet it and sell it to somebody. Usually it sits overnight. And then what Michael's doing here is we just put a little bit of flour on it, smash it, and then this is our hopper or sheeter. This is a nickname, and it's just it spits it out here and then brings it out as a full pizza crust. So these are our one-time use bakeable trays. So your pizza doesn't go on a tray that you have to switch to another, like a pizza stone or something like that. It stays on the tray, and that way you don't need anything else to bake it. So it's really nice and convenient to, you don't have to worry about. When Papa Murphy's first got started, they used a par bake crust, which is partially baked, and then they sold a stone that you could reuse over and over. And so we evolved quite a bit, and pretty quickly the disposable tray was kind of made, and that way customers didn't have to worry about buying a tray to cook a pizza at home, and it makes it a lot easier. So you bake it one time, and throw it away after you bake it. This is one of the other things that we have. This is the pan right here that we were talking about earlier. So it's kind of, you can see it's kind of a deeper dish type of crust there. That fits in there. And then the dough book, I guess. There. That's it. So this is only a single batch. You can do a double batch as well, which would be just twice as much stuff. So a lot of people ask why we don't have like a whole wheat crust or a gluten-free crust. Yeah, and the biggest reason why is because we make everything fresh. And so there's just not a very good way to, because this will make almost 40 pizza crusts. And that's just a single batch. So in order for us to come up with a recipe, they've tested some things, but it has to be something that we can make enough of and then sell versus just, mix up a bunch of dough and then throw away 80% of the dough. So right now, the gluten-free is pretty small kind of market, and I know that it's small because most people want it because their children or themselves do it for medical reasons, and so there's just not a huge market for it. If a lot of people, if there was much more of a market, it would be a piece of cake for us to do something like that. So that's kind of the long answer to it, but there's just not enough people to mix a whole bunch of dough for it. If it was something that we could bring in and keep in the freezer and then sheet out 2 or 3 of those for each day, it would be no problem. But we're all about freshness. So until we figure out a way to mix a small amount, we just won't have that gluten-free. But it is a good question, and a lot of people, we get a couple people probably every day ask about it.
Yeah, a lot of my friends will ask about it because they're gluten-free, and they're like, we would definitely go there if it's gluten-free because everything is fresh there.
Yeah, I've got a good friend that her whole family is dairy-free, and she tries to be mostly gluten-free as well, but she just gets like a thin crust and then no cheese on it at all. So they make that work, but still it's not 100%. So let's see here. Are there any other questions before I move on to anything else? Okay. As our this slices our mushrooms and zucchini. It also shreds all of our cheese. There's just an attachment that goes on here, and it's got some different speeds. And so that's what we use to grate all the cheese and slice some vegetables and all that kind of stuff. We've got yeast. I mentioned that our dough sits in the walk-in, and that's basically the recipe that we use. Sometimes when you bake bread at home, you use a really high temperature water, and it's made to bake right away. We use about 78 to 80 degree water, and so it's not as hot, so it takes a little while for the yeast to activate, but it's been that way for as long as I can remember, and I started about 20 years ago. So that's just a recipe that they've used, and it's worked well, and that's really the foundation of our success is our dough. So let's see here. This is our walk-in cooler. You guys are probably pretty familiar with refrigeration and stuff. I mentioned that we don't have any freezers, so this just holds a steady refrigeration temperature. If you guys want, you're more than welcome to come in here and take a look around. Kind of see what we have in here. It's cold in there though. You good? I did mention is we have our mini Murph kits. Do they? Okay, they're pretty awesome for kids. My kids love putting those together too. Yeah. So they just get a little kit of their own, and they can, make a mess and put sauce all over it, and the cheese, and pepperoni, whatever they want.
So are some already completely made up where you can just walk in and you don't have to call and say I want this, this, and this?
We generally don't have very many pizzas pre-made. Some stores that are really busy. I manage the #1 store in the whole system is in Idaho Falls, Idaho, and it's crazy busy. So we wouldn't be able to handle a rush in the evening without having some freshly made pizzas ready to go.
Like the ones over there, are those already ordered and people are waiting to pick those up?
Those are just side items. So those get made in the mornings, and then so.
Oh, so like you do things in here, desserts and things like that are already made up, and you can just grab those and take them with you.
Exactly.
And how long have you guys been in Orlando, in this area?
I did forget to mention that. This was our first store that opened up in Central Florida, and it opened up almost exactly 4 years ago. So we're within 1 week of our 4-year anniversary.
And are there going to be any expansion? I don't believe there's any kind of I'm toward that Disney area. Will there ever be a possibility of seeing you extend out that way?
Yes. The biggest part for that is just finding the right location and stuff out there, because there's a lot of tourism and that kind of thing out there.
So you do vacation homes. I could see this being really good for people staying in vacation homes.
Yeah, because especially because Papa Murphy's is all over the country, and so our Akoe store is the closest store to the Disney stuff, and we do get people that are from Utah and California and Oregon that come up to our store just because they've got a house or a condo or something like that they're renting, and they can cook pizzas, and something that they're really familiar with. So and then they drive a little bit for it, but it's really fun. So to answer your question, eventually yes, there will be some. The next store that we're planning on opening is over in Oviedo, but yeah, Central Florida is probably big enough to handle, I would say, at least 40 stores, and we've only got 3. So we put...
scale, is that what you're looking at?
Yep, I was just going to say, so we put 7 ounces of sauce on a family-sized pizza and 12 ounces of cheese, and then you get another 3 ounces on top, so it's almost a full pound of cheese on one pizza. So, in fact, our large, we have a stuffed pizza. I don't know if some of you guys have had Papa Murphy's before.
That sounds amazing. We're getting a picture and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that just a large one is over 4 pounds.
Wow.
So the family size is even bigger, but it's got over a pound of cheese and 2 crusts. So it can feed a lot of people. Usually like to keep pepperoni covered just because
Put it
get
in?
moist. Yeah. So the easiest way to do our pepperonis, I get told this a lot, but
We want to take a
we
picture. Is there something you haven't touched, or you
deal
say
with
something, or
carbs.
how do you
So
do
we
it?
just do this like this, and then just start flinging them on there. So I'll give that to you.
Only problem is when you're burning it.
Yeah, but you can really do it however you want.
Really look down into.
Yeah.
Not a lot of finesse, but... little baby in the middle.
So I saw yesterday in Apopka Murphy's mom's Facebook, one of the moms took Italian bread and took your topping, the Parmesan type of topping over there,
Oh yeah?
and she made her own.
That stuff is good. It's awesome, right?
Especially real cheese. Oh my god.
It's easier or anything. Yeah.
Need to make it. Zero.
Jenny, you have mine too. How about that?
No, I'm good. I'm trying to quit. Thank you.
Baking instructions for our original crust, our delight, which is our thin crust, and then our stuffed pizzas. A lot of people,
Original, right?
yes, this is original. A lot of people think that we have a stuffed crust pizza, but it's not actually a stuffed crust, it's a stuffed pizza. So we don't actually put like, you know, cheese and stuff on the inside of the crust, but when we, it's like a whole pizza pie. So that's kind of what you'll see there. Oh, let me put these in there too. The best deal that we have, which is kind of like something that you'd want to blog about and tell everybody about, our $10 Tuesdays. You can get any pizza, any size that we make for $10. So, you know, our stuffed pizza, family size, is $16. If you come in on a Tuesday, it's $10.
Oh, wow. And that's all the time? It's not a limited time thing, just Tuesdays?
It's every Tuesday, yep. So there's those. They can be stacked on top of each other. You're totally fine with that.
Right.